Have you ever thought that if you could just do more and be better, that somehow your value or your worth would increase? I know I have definitely been in that category and fallen into the trap of a performance mindset. And I'm going to give you guys some tips on how you can overcome that. That just brings so much peace in sometimes a very chaotic mind. If you're new here, I just want to take a minute to welcome you. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Catherine. I'm a certified mental health coach. I just love to help people discover the truth of their identity and who they are in Christ and be able to break free from the limiting beliefs that have held them in bondage for far too long so that they're free to live the life God intended them to live in the peace that we've all been gifted with. Okay, so the thought that if I could do more and just be better has really plagued me over my lifetime as long as I can remember. I really have struggled back and forth with this concept, and I didn't realize it was a performance mindset or mentality until I had a spiritual mother and a mentor speak into my life where she was seeing things, from a bird's eye view, somebody looking from the outside in and saying, okay, you've got some things you need to deal with, sweetie. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. It's kind of like you can't see your face unless you're looking into the mirror. And that's what I was dealing with. So I remember sharing with her one day that I was going through the happenings of the day before, I think one day, and I just said, hey, I was doing this, that, or whatever. And she's like, you spend a lot of time cleaning your house. And I'm like, oh, I do, I guess, maybe. Do I? And she's like, yeah, you do. You spend a lot of time cleaning your house. Why do you think you do that? And I was like, well, because I like to be clean, And she's like, I don't think it's just because you like to be clean. And I really had to sit there for a few minutes and kind of try to understand what she was trying to say. And it didn't take long for me to start to see, okay, there is some real deep reasons why I like to clean my house so much. And it's not OCD, it's not anything like that. There was two reasons. One, it was the only thing in my life at the time that I could control. I could control the cleanliness of my home. When everything else was out of control, that was what I could control. And two, I felt like I was failing in every area of life. So if my house was clean, I equated that to being a valuable homemaker, wife, and a mom. And if I had a clean house, at least I had something. And that made me more worthy or more valuable than if I had not had a clean house. In the process of that conversation, she also brought to my attention other areas and didn't realize where I was getting my value, my worth from performing, from doing things in order to be seen as more valuable or an asset or, more worthy to someone in a relationship. Most all of us do this in general. We want to do better at our jobs so that we can keep our jobs. We want to, try to be the best spouse we can be so that we have a happy and good marriage. We want to be a good parent. We want to do the best we can in life, right? So that's normal. That's totally normal. But it's when we go beyond that we're trying to gain approval by being our best self, that it becomes a problem with our minds, with our thoughts. And so I had to really step back and take some time to do what I say so often here on this channel, is to self-evaluate. Say, okay, why am I so defeated when I've spent all this time working so hard to achieve this one thing? And maybe I didn't get the response from those around me that I thought I should get or that I was attaining to get. And then if I didn't get that, I would feel so bad. Why is that? Why do I feel so bad when other people don't approve of all of the things that I do? But I didn't even realize I was doing all the things I was doing to get the approval till I didn't get the approval, or I didn't feel more worthy or valuable after I did said thing. And the reason was because my identity was based on what other people thought of me, how well I performed. And I kind of almost thought like, hey, if I'm not the MVP, then something must be wrong with me. And that's not true. That's just not true. And that performance mentality started for me when I was really young. I really battled feeling like I had to do more and be better in order to be approved of. And I felt as though if I didn't do it all and do it all right, then I wasn't important, that I wasn't valuable, and that I didn't matter. This isn't a conscious decision I just made one day to say like, I'm gonna be this way. It just happens. Things happen to us and around us. We begin to behave a certain way and we're not even realizing it's happening. So that's what was going on. So now that I knew I battled a performance mentality, how did I deal with that? Because I didn't want to keep getting my identity in what I did, because when I didn't get the response that I thought I should, it crushed me, and I didn't want to be that way. I didn't want to feel defeated all the time or not valuable or worthy. So I'm going to give you guys some tips that I used when I was going through the starting points of getting over this performance mentality and how to really deal with it. So the first step that you want to take is obviously just even recognizing that you battle with something like this. And how do you know if you do? You can just sit down and think about, why am I doing what I'm doing? What result do I hope to get? What feeling do I hope to attain from doing the things that I do for other people to see? So what is the motive behind what you're doing? Why are you doing those things? And if the answers are, well, because I want to feel like they approve of me, or I want them to be proud of me, or I want people to think I have it all together, or I want to be told that I'm awesome, or whatever it is, you just want somebody to validate you in some way, then you probably struggle with a performance mindset, just like I did. And if I'm being quite honest, I still do. I have to be very mindful of that old thought pattern that tries to come in and creep its way in. And I'm like, oh no, we're not going back there. We're not doing that. Your worth is not what you do. So after you discover whether or not you do even battle with performance mentality or performance mindset, the second thing you want to do is just sit down with a journal and a pen and start writing out all of the things that you think you are based on what other people have said about you. So if other people have said, wow, you're really organized. Wow, you bake the best food every time you bring food to this potluck, or whatever it is, like write down all the things that you really hold on to when people say those things to you. Like, wow, that makes me feel so valuable. Just write all those things down. I know this sounds really silly, but it's going to help you a lot. So if you write them all down and take that list to God and say, okay, God, this is what people say about me. This is what has been said about me. And I take great pride in these things, but if they were all stripped away, I would probably feel really bad about myself. So I need to go deeper, God. So you're going to have to talk to God like this. Like, I need to go deeper. I need to know that if all these things were stripped away from me, if nobody ever said one more nice thing about me, or told me I was good at something, or told me I was doing a good job, what is it that you say? And then step number 4 is just to write down what he says about you. So listening to God is really important. If you don't know how to hear from God, this is going to be a problem for you. So how you hear from God is just sitting quietly in his presence and just be still. Turn off all the distractions. You can put on some instrumental soaking worship music maybe in the background. Spotify has some really great playlists for this that I use a lot of times, and you will hear from God. And hearing from God does sound a little bit like you. I can teach you a lot more about that in another episode, but not today. I'm just going to be talking to you about overcoming performance mentality today. But asking God, what do you say about me? And if you don't know what he says about you, you can go to the word. If you need some scriptures on identity, your identity in Christ, which means who you are in Christ as a daughter or a son, go to my website, grab the freebie that I did, like a free PDF for you guys with identity scriptures. If you don't know where to find those in the word, to write this down. I am valuable and worthy, just like I am. God created me unique and special with a certain set of gifts and talents and abilities that nobody else has. I do things in a way nobody else can do them. I can't do anything or be any better to merit the love of God any further than he already loves me right now. God can never love me any more than he does right now, no matter how much I do or how much better I try to be. When you start to hear those little things creep in that say, I'm not good enough, or I didn't do a good job, or man, I just feel bad about myself because fill in the blank, then you can go, okay, no, I'm going to take those thoughts captive. No way, thoughts. You're not going to have a heyday in my mind today. You're taking those captive. That means you're literally like reining them in. You're putting them into captivity, and you're saying, here you go, God. I know who I am. I know my value. I know my worth. I know what God says about me. That is taking every thought captive unto the obedience of Christ. Okay, ladies, so I've just shared with you a little bit, the beginning of what I do to overcome a performance mentality. This isn't something that is one and done. Unfortunately, personal development and changing our minds about things definitely takes time. It takes digging in and hanging on and continuing the process and working hard. So if you want to change something in your life, you have to change something in your life. I wanted peace in my life, and I knew that that meant letting go of some of the things that I was holding on to for way too long that was really ultimately leading me to a life of stress and anxiety and overwhelm, and all of that just had to go. So I just shared with you guys what I did to start overcoming that, and then continuing that process over and over again when new things come up, or when I'm finding that I'm kind of back in the same rut that I was in before, and digging a trench, digging where I really want that thought to go from point A to point B, instead of just mindlessly thinking the same thing over and over again. And it's really not healthy. It's really not leading me to any kind of peace at all. So I hope that if you start doing this, you'll find some peace and be able to let go of some of the things that you maybe feel like you have to perform in order to be loved or be seen or be valuable and be worthy. And really, it's less about striving and more about abiding in Christ, just resting, knowing that you already have everything that you need because he covers you, because of the relationship that you have with Jesus Christ. So I know anytime that I start to freak out, like, oh my gosh, I need to do more. Oh, I have to be better, or I have to produce, or I have to whatever it is. It's about striving now. So I've moved from abiding in Christ, knowing that I have all that I need, to striving within my own self to try and figure it out and try and make it happen and try to produce some kind of end result in order to perceive myself as more valuable or worthy, and that's just not a healthy place to be, and there's absolutely zero peace in that. So I hope this video has helped you guys today. If it has and you've liked it, please give it a thumbs up and just consider subscribing to my channel. This is just a place where a community of women come together and talk about things pertaining to mental health and physical health and being healthy from the inside out, truly being whole, healed, and healthy. If you guys want more information about me, visit my website, and I'll make sure that I put a link in the description below for you guys to do that. And you can reach out and communicate with me also via Instagram. I will put my handle down there as well. So you guys be sure to check that out and share this video with anybody that you think that it might help. So I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have a good day. Bye.